Today on Poured Out Voices.
The guards was telling me, like, bro, that's never happened before. Like, how your case, like, none of this has never happened. So we don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the judge has never stopped the person who just got a life sentence and telling these people to go reverse the life sentence.
Welcome to Poured Out Voices, the podcast where stories of redemption are shared one cup at a time. I'm your host, Elsie, and here we sit down over a warm cup of tea and open our hearts to the real, raw, and redemptive work of Jesus Christ. Each week, you'll hear powerful testimonies from believers who have experienced God's love poured out in the darkest and most beautiful moments of life. So grab your tea, settle in, and join us for today's conversation. It might just stir something in your soul. All right, so we couldn't get the camera to work, but we're still going to go into what you wanted to tell me. So go ahead, Mr. Williams. And
Okay, so I believe where we left off was I was beginning to explain, like, I felt has been the biggest turning point in my life. And to get there, like I was explaining, manifestations and seeing things before it's even happened. And a lot of times that takes unwavering faith, you know what I mean? So, but to get to these points, us as being human, sometimes we have to see things, you know what I mean? We have to see it to believe it. So I took different quotes and different inspirational things, and I put them all around my room. I put them in my locker box. I put them above my bed so that when I woke up, these are the first things that I was feeding my mind. These were the first things that I was feeding my soul. These were the first things where I would open my eyes. Okay, this is the goal that you have right in front of you. Nothing else matters but these things that we're looking at. And so what that does is it begins to shape your mind, your thoughts, your actions. It begins to create this energy where it resonates within your soul, your spirit, the atmosphere, and it begins to bring things into real life. And that's one of the book I read, where I got it from, and it was called "What Makes the Great Great." I'll never forget that book. It changed my life, and it was just basically saying, like, it was giving you some of the key pointers to how you achieve the highest level of success. And that was one of the things. Was first it was discipline, and then it was just putting, like, you have like a vision board, you know what I mean? Making things plain so that it can be manifested into your life. And you have to see this every day. Like, you literally have to see it. You have to live it. You have to breathe it, because this is what's going to keep you on track. And so that's what I did. I wrote the appeal, ran it down, and I put it on several pieces of paper, and I put it all around my room. I put the serenity prayer right in front of the door. So when I got up, when I'm in front of the mirror, so when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm reading the serenity prayer. Just these things that keep going. You know what I mean? Your time is here. Like, just little things that I put all around and made this entire room. Forget a board. I made the entire room my vision board, so that there was no place that I can look in this room that wouldn't be pointing me towards the goal that I needed to get to. And it was so funny because I'm happy that we got a chance to go back over it, because I was just at church. I usually do my church services on Mondays instead of Sundays, because I like to start my week off fresh. I like to, get the word of God in my system and just prepare myself for the long weeks to come. It was saying, like, it was talking about Abshak, Shadrach, and Abnego. And that was kind of what the service was on. The pastor went on to explain that, while we're going through things. Hey, I want to get the quote. Let me see if I don't know if this is going to exit it out. I hope it doesn't. Can you still hear me? Hello? Hello?
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, you still hear me? Hello? It keeps going in and out.
I'm here.
And it was explaining that, we're gonna go through the fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna go through some things in life, and you have to hold on to the key. First, you have to hold on to the core values that God has given us, that He has laid out for us. Then, on top of that, you have to understand that even if God can't bring you through a situation, every step of the way, He's going to be walking with you. Every step of the way, he's gonna be holding your hand. Every step of the way, he's gonna be guiding your steps. But you have to pay attention to the signs. You have to believe. And the three keys that they gave us was you have to have relationship, you have to have resolve, and you also have to have restraint. Those are the three keys that they gave us in church. You know what I'm saying? And the relationship is built with God, and that's you trusting in him. Even if he's not doing what you want him to do, you know you're trusting in the guy that he is and him being able and to being able to provide for everything that you need and everything that you want. So you have to have that relationship. The restraint to not do things that other people are doing. In my case, it would be to turn towards to evil ways, you know what I'm saying? To do things that I'm not supposed to be doing, to fall into patterns and behaviors that I'm not supposed to be doing. And the resolve is the ability to keep going, man. No matter what obstacles you're facing, no matter what you're encountering, you gotta have the resolve to be like, okay, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Let me put on my big boy boots and we can go through this mud and we can handle it. And as I began to add these qualities to my life, I began to realize why God put me in prison. And that's when the breakthrough started to hit. I started to see everything clearly that all this time because I couldn't really understand why I was put in this situation. Like every night, like for the past 13 years, like I've racked, and sometimes I still find myself doing it. You know what I mean? But I've racked my brain of why, God, like why this situation, like so random, like, and when the breakthrough came, is these are all the things that he was leading me up to the moments, you know what I'm saying, where he knew that me being on the street, I would have never reached my full potential to walk with God because some people are so hard headed that God has to totally completely isolate you for you to be drawn to Him and for you to seek your purpose and serve your purpose. And that's what was going on. He had to literally isolate me, refine me in every way possible, mentally, spiritually, physically, to the point where I was nothing but a vessel for him. And it only could be from him because of the way he moved in my life, because of the promises that he gave me or that he told me. And I'm seeing them manifested. So now it's just like a one-on-one conversation with him. And it's just like, yeah, you see what I'm doing now? Like, look, yeah, you didn't think I could do this, or you didn't think I could do this. Now look at this. And it's just been so amazing to see these things play out, you know what I'm saying? And I get so happy and inspired and fulfilled just even just thinking about like how far I've came, man, and all the things that he brought me through, like the things that were near impossible. And you know, like it's only a few things in his life that are truly impossible. And to achieve some of these things, like it can be no one else but God. And those are when and in these moments, like me sitting here and seeing these things, actually seeing them happen, that's when I knew, like, you know, like God is real, man. Like, and He has His favor upon my life. He has His hand on my shoulder, like, because there's just no other way that I'm surviving these things, man. Like, there's just no other way. Even now, just still going through them and still remaining patient, still remaining humble, still remaining a faithful servant. Like, the spirit of conviction is even stronger than it's ever been. You know what I'm saying? The discipline and the mental fortitude, like all these things have come from God, man, and it's come from the breakthroughs that He put in my life. And in those moments towards the end, that's when I really had the breakthrough, and that's when I really realized, you know, like God has a calling on my life, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. There's nothing anyone else can do to stop it. Only thing I can do is go through it.
So so after you put up all of the manifestation cards in your room, like, what were you trying to achieve? What were you believing for?
I was believing for a second chance. I just wanted to feel worthy of that, you know, like because I've made so many mistakes in my life, and a lot of times I didn't feel worthy that God should help me. Like, I felt like, you know, hey, this is what you get. Because even though I didn't do what I'm in prison for, I've done a lot of messed up things in life, man. And I just felt like that was the get back. I just when I decided to change my life and really walk with God, like I just wanted a second chance. Like that's all I wanted was a second chance at life, a second chance to prove him that I am worthy. You know what I'm saying? That I could take on the things that he wanted me to, that I can handle what he wanted to give me, the responsibilities or possessions, whatever it may be, I can handle everything that he was preparing me for. And that's just what it was. I just wanted a second chance. I just wanted to show God that I was worthy.
So I remember you telling me that you were trying to raise some money because you needed to get a lawyer, Brian Steele. And just walk me through how you got that money or not necessarily how you got the money, but just kind of walk me through that particular miracle, and then what happened after you got the lawyer.
Well, the accumulating the funds was, there's several different ways to make money in prison. You know what I'm saying? Me just being me. Like don't get me wrong, there weren't always the best ways. Like it wasn't always the best ways, but like just cutting out all the negative habits was what allowed me to lock in. You know what I'm saying? Cutting out the outside noise. Like I used to gamble a lot to help to pass the time. So I had to cut out that. Like I said, I used to smoke weed, so I had to cut out that. It's a lot of like I had to take a lot of sacrifices on things that I like to do and just look squarely save everything and go into hustle mode. You know what I'm saying? And that's this part of the faith part. Like, you can have faith all day, but you gotta do your part. Like you have to. So that was me just really locking in on discipline and saving every little bit of money that I had, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I knew that it was all on me. There was no one coming to save me. My sister, she chipped in a little bit as well, also. You know what I mean? She tried to do a little something what she could. And so between me and her, you know what I mean? Like we made it happen.
How
And
much money did you raise?
altogether we 25,000 is what Brian Steele's
And how
he
long
was.
did it take you to get that money?
I had it took a month.
Wow. So just in 30 days, you were able to raise $25,000. And so
Mhm.
once
He
you
wanted the
retain
15 up front. Huh?
wow. So once you retain Brian Still, walk me through, like, the court process, and because I remember you telling me that your option was taken away to do, like to take the plea deal for the 30
Huh.
years.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a drawn
so
out process. Like, even with him, like, it didn't happen overnight, you know? Like, it's still like, every day, like I said, every day in here is just a test, man. So, even after I acquired him and, we began to talk and we began to go to court dates, so I would go back and forth to court, and so he would just break it down and explain to me, like, you know, the case and what was going on. We ran into some technicalities where, like I said before, they didn't my motion for new trial, like, they didn't accept that, and so that was one of the snags that we ran into, and God cleared the way for that so fast. He I'm telling like, we was waiting on the law to get it passed, and like I said, it just got passed miraculously in 2 weeks. The law was well, before they changed it, it was you had to have a lawyer write your appeal for a new trial. Like, you couldn't do it yourself. I didn't know that, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know anything about the law, so all I knew was I lost trial and I had to get back in here. So, I went to the law books. I had never wrote a motion before in my life, but I went and did my research and, you know what I'm saying, and I wrote that thing up to perfection, and I still have the copy, actually. Like, I wrote it up to perfection. I put it in because my lawyer told me that he wasn't doing nothing. He said he going on vacation. He wasn't worried about me. It's over with. This case is over with. You know what I mean? Basically, that's
that
what he
wasn't
told me.
Brian Still, that was the
No,
previous lawyer.
yeah, that was my original trial lawyer. And so it was just left to me. And you have 30 days to file this motion or you're done. So when he was telling me this, he was like, look, it's a new law that's coming into effect where they're running on it to get passed. And it was just basically saying that you can now file your own motion. You know, so that just gave way to any discrepancies that we had with the motion. So I thought it would take longer because usually laws take maybe 1 to 2 years on to get passed. But I guess this had already been in effect. I don't really question the power of God. I don't question how he works. You know what I'm saying? I just know my God is an awesome God. And I know that he will make a way out of no way. So when it happened, all I could do was pray. Like I said, I just pray without ceasing. One day, Brian Still, he called me and he was like, "Hey man," well, he called my mom and he sent me the letter and he was like, "Hey man, the law has been passed. Congratulations! Now we're moving forward." And and like I said, it just point after point, God is showing me like that He's walking with me, that it's favor in my life, and every step of the way, it just left me in awe.
And how
And Brian,
many days I remember you telling me that it was, like, a certain amount of time you had before a lawyer had to do it for you, before the law had passed. So, how many days were left before this law passed, before your original, I guess, letter that you sent in would have been null and void?
oh no, it was already null and void because you have 30 days. So like, if that law didn't pass, it was over with for me. Like it was over with. Like the motion was non-valid. So then I would have had to go to like a Hague, which is like 10 times harder. Well, I mean, it's all hard, but like it would have been extremely difficult to the point where I don't even know the steps that I would have had to take. I just know that that first option for the motion for new trial, I would have been done. So like it was just amazing to me, you know what I'm saying? Like that this law was being put into effect when I didn't know it because it was over with. Like you only had 30 days. I had already put this. That was 8 years down the line that you're telling me now that this motion is. I couldn't put it in myself. So you know
Wow.
that 30-day time limit had already elapsed.
Wow.
So like I would have been like down the creek with no paddle without this new law being passed within 2 weeks after my lawyer told me that we were waiting on
Wow. Okay, so it happened that quickly.
it.
So you were able to file this motion, and what happened after that?
Um, After I filed the motion in the county jail, you know, I put it in and I went, you know, like I said, I went to prison. But like you just when you file the motion, like it's a waiting game. Like I filed a motion in 2016. I didn't see court until 3 years after that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like, and then after that, I didn't see court for another 2 years. And then after that, I didn't see court for another year. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a long process, like a long, tedious process, and it wears you down because the courts they don't have any timetables on this. They can take as long as they want. So you know what I mean? Like I'm just going back and forth to court, like just going back and forth. You know what I mean? Just hoping for some good news every time I go. You know what I mean? We might argue a motion or we might argue this to try to get this to go in our favor, and that's just really it. That's what it was from that point. From the point you filed a motion up until the point where I gave the time back, it was just me going to court, back and forth in shackles, you know what I'm saying, being degraded, strip searches, all these things, you know what I'm saying? For long they want you to do it until your case is resolved. And so that's what I've been going through for the past 13 years is back and forth to court, shackles on your wrist, shackles on your feet, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this has just been my experience and my reality.
Can you tell me about when you had went to court and the first lawyer who kinda abandoned you, he had to take the stand, and he basically ended up confessing that he wasn't prepared for the first round that you guys did?
Man, Melvin Dansby, I'll never forget that man's name. He was atrocious. And I never expected that from a black king. You know what I mean? Like I never expected someone to play with my life like that. And I just thank God that like I don't know what happened. Like this man gets on the stand and he just the DA's asking him questions and he's just so incompetent. Like I don't know if it's incompetent, like I don't know if the spirit has seized him, but like you can tell like everyone in the courtroom, they're just looking at me like, bro, this is your lawyer? Like like they're because the way when he's talking, he just sounds so stupid. You know what I mean? And to the point where, like in the law in the state of Georgia, they ask you, they say for the lawyers, they have a real big area of margin. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really like they really can't do any wrong because all they have to say is, you know, this is part of my strategy. Like I didn't call this witness or I didn't object to this because I felt that this would help me win. So if they say that, you know, they're just like, hey man, you know, there's nothing you can do. Like, who am I to tell you that your strategy isn't a winning strategy? You get what I'm saying? So I can't like it makes it so hard for you to go back on an ineffective assistance of counsel because all a lawyer has to say is, hey, you know, that was my strategy. It didn't work. I'm sorry. I'll try better next time. So if he would have said that on the stand, like I would have been cooked. Like I would have been done. But this man gets on the stand. You know, my lawyer, she's grilling him. She's grilling him. This is before Brian Steele, like she's grilling him, man. And that's Margaret Heining. I'll never forget her name either. And she just asking him, you know, well, I asked other lawyers about the case, and they said you didn't know anything about the case. You feel me? Like you were asking them, like, what's going on? You didn't know the names of the other people on the case. Like he didn't even know my name. He said my name wrong so many times. And so she just bombarding him with questions, different questions. And, you know, he's starting to stumble up. He's starting to catch himself because now this is 2 years down the line after trial. So, you know, every lie that you had then, like, you're not going to be able to remember it now. So she's just hitting him with question after question. And then so her final question is, well, why didn't you call a slang? Like, why didn't you hire a slang interpreter? Because Mr. Williams got convicted off of text messages. And these text messages didn't mean what they tried to paint it. So why wouldn't you at least get that? And he was just like, I didn't have the money. I didn't have no strategy. Like, I was just doing what I could. And everybody just in the courtroom was just like, what? Like, what? You didn't have a strategy? And the judge just looked. He stopped the case. Like, literally, like, I've never seen this before. Like, I've never seen any of this. The judge stopped right then and there. And he said, DA, y'all need to go get on the phone with the head DA, and y'all need to get this man the offer right now. Like, he stopped everything and told these people, like, go get on the phone and tell them they need to offer him a plea right now. And so that's what they did. We stopped the whole courtroom, like, and they went and called the DA.
Wow.
And like I told you before, he told them, Mr. Williams gambled at trial, so I'm going to gamble now. And the rest is history. Like because of his incompetence and him being so bullheaded, he left the window open for me. You know what I'm saying? Like he left me the favor that God promised me. While everything they're trying to do is to destroy me and to keep me in the pits, God is in the midst working everything out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sitting back like a movie, just watching everything unplay. And I'm so shocked and in disbelief because I can't believe like this is really happening. Like how everything is playing out. You know what I'm saying? Like for the judge to stop this, like the guards was telling me like, bro, that's never happened before. Like how your case, like none of this has never happened. So we don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? Like the judge has never stopped the person who just got a life sentence and telling these people to go reverse the life sentence. Like these things just don't happen on a daily. And that's why I'm just so in awe. I'm so in shock and I'm so thankful. Like that God deems me worthy and that just pushes me so hard. Like it drives me with a force that I can never explain and that I will never shy away from because of the things that I've seen and things that I have been through.
So, right then and there, they reverse your life sentence. What plea did they come back with?
Nope. It wasn't right then and there because Paul Howard, like I said, he rejected it. So now I'm already locked in though. Like, so I'm like, when I leave, I'm firing Margaret. Even though, you know what I mean, she's doing her thing, I'm like, I just got to get somebody that I know is going to bring it home. And
So, how did
so,
Brian still do that for you?
well, on the day we went in, it was May 16th, 4 days before my birthday, before I turned 34. Oh, no, 33. It was 4 days before I turned 33. And we went to the court and he came back and told me that they were offering me a plea, which was 20 years.
Brian still came back.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And he, like, because you wait for him in the holding cell while they're in the courtroom. So when he comes back, he says, Mr. Williams, I have good news. And he like, the plea that I was telling you about that they might offer that we were going to come and talk about, because that was the whole point of the court date. He was like, they're offering you 20 years and it's up to you whether you want to take it or not. He's like, they're going to grant the motion for a new trial. So either way it goes, you're going to leave here today with the win. Now, he began to break it down. He say, if you don't want to take the plea, boom, they're going to grant the motion for a new trial. You're going to have to pay me again another 25 to 30,000 to represent you at trial again. To like, we're starting all over. Like I only paid him to reverse the life sentence. So he like, you're going to have to pay me again, and then you're going to have to wait. And like, you're just starting all over. So I would have had to go back to the county. I would have had to wait in the county until a new trial. You know what I mean? Like it would just been that would have been 2 to 3 years. The first time was 3.5 years that I waited for trial. So that's around the time frame that I was looking at. And so I had already been down 13 years. So so now I'm weighing in my mind, and now he's like, or you can accept the 20 years, you've done 13, and you'll be paroling out with like very soon, which now that I know it's in the next 2 years. So now I'm weighing the decisions in my head, like what do I do? Because I don't have the money to pay him, but I can get another lawyer and and try to go back with that, or do I just get out of these people's way when you know what I mean? Like, and that was just my mindset. Like, I'm just like, man, Lord, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, and the scripture that just kept popping in my head, I don't know verbatim, but it was saying that, God won't put you in situations that you can't bear, but he'll also create a way out for you. And I was just thinking, like, bro, do I be hard-headed and just try to take these folks all the way where it still come out, not go my way? Or do I just take my lick, take my lesson, and I just, you know what I mean, plea out and get home to my son? And that was just my thought. Like, man, I'm like, and Brian still was telling me, like, no, you should go all the way. Like, you should just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe you got him. But everything in my spirit was just telling me to take the plea. Like, just take the plea to get out of these people's way, bro. This be the last time that you ride in shackles ever. You know what I mean? Like, these are the thoughts that I'm having. Like, these would be the last time that you ever see this county courthouse. These are the last things that you will ever see. So that was my mindset. And that's what I did. I took the plea. And now, what I'm saying, I'm happy with my decision because, like I said, I'll be paroling out in 2027. And before I left, like I said, I took all of it in. I took the holding cells in, like the shackles on my wrist, the riding in the paddy wagon, all of these things. I'm soaking it in because this is going to be, those were my last time doing this. And I'm thankful, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm thankful for the lessons. Like, I'm humbled. And here we are.
So you went from having a life sentence to paroling out in 2027.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
Wow, God is so good. As you were explaining to me how rare it is for people to take their life sentence back, meaning having it reversed.
Well, the statistics tell you that only 10 to 15% do it.
Wow.
And it's usually on a technicality, like, a mistake in the paperwork or a mistake that the DA made, a missing witness, just little small things that the courts make mistakes, and that's how it usually happens. Never on the magnitude of how my lawyer did. Those are rare occurrences, and when they happen, like, there's nothing that you can really do. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop it because in the United States of America, you are supposed to be granted a fair trial, and if those rights are denied, then they have to reverse everything.
Wow. So we're at this point where you know that 2027 you'll officially be a free man, or God isn't done working.
You're right.
Possibly be sooner than that. You just
Exactly.
remain faithful. So in the meantime, can you just let me know what would you want to let our listeners, anyone listening to this that may be in the same situation as you or could possibly end up in the same situation as you, what would you want to leave them with today?
Really, I just leave everybody with, stay grounded. Like, there's no blueprint to life. Like, we all make mistakes. And life is so hard. Like, I never thought that my life would be here. Like, I never thought, like, my wildest of wildest imaginations, I never thought that I would be 34 years old in prison. I never thought that I would be 23, 24 facing a life sentence. So, you never know where the roller coasters of life are going to take you. You have to have some foundation to survive. You know what I mean? You have to have discipline. You have to have fortitude. You got to have tunnel vision. And you got to know that things won't happen overnight. You got to know that things are going to mess up. Things are not going to go as planned. But each day, you have to get up and you have to take on a certain attitude. If you put all your energy into the problems and not the solutions, then more problems are what you will have. So you got to stay locked in because just like I was telling you, when they threw Abshak, Shadrach, and Abednego into the furnace, yeah, they threw them into the furnace, and the furnace was so hot that it killed people that threw them into the furnace. But yet they stood unharmed and untouched, chains broken, and not by themselves, but with God with them. So you got to know that you're never alone. And sometimes the most fiery of trials are drawing you closer to God. So don't look at, that's what I'm saying, like, you got to have a certain attitude and you have to seize the day. You have to take on the moments and you have to appreciate these moments because they're only building you for greatness. And that's what it is. Like, that's the key right there. Boom. Thank you, God. Mindset. That's the key that I leave the viewers, the people, whoever's listening. Your mindset is the biggest thing you can have in life. However you choose to take your mindset, negative or positive, that's the direction you're going to go in. So I encourage you, like I said, just keep a positive mindset. No matter what you're facing today, no matter how it's not looking your way, no matter this bill not paid or this person won't talk to you, keep that positive mindset and know that your time is coming, and know that God is a forgiving God. God is a merciful God, and God is a providing God out of no way, but you have to believe.
Wow, thank you. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Definitely still want to keep in touch with you, keep up with you. I believe that God is not done. 2027, that's not far away, but even God can turn that into a closer time. So
Amen.
believing for that. And I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you allowing people a glimpse into your life and just being vulnerable. And I just pray that God continues to cover you. And, you know, once you are free and in this world, I just pray that God continues to use your testimony to save others.
Amen.
All right. Well, I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for sharing this cup and this moment with us. If today's testimony stirs something in your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, leave a review, or connect with us online. If you would like to share your testimony, please email me at pouredoutvoices@gmail.com. View show notes for social media information. Revelation 12:11 says, "They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony." Every story shared here is a reminder that God is still in the business of redemption. So until next time, stay rooted in His love, keep your heart open, and let your life be poured out for His glory.